Hello everyone and welcome back to a new video. Today I am bringing you, shocking, a new Gather and Chat episode. Oh my gosh, it's been literally a year since my last episode of Gather and Chat. This was a little series that I started, when did I start this? In November of 2018 was my first episode, if you can believe that. And then I only did a second episode a year later, and then that was it. So now I'm bringing it back. I'm bringing it back because this was a highly requested video series that I start doing again here on my YouTube channel. So guess what, guys? Here it is. Here we go. Gather and Chat episodes are back. In case you're new to my channel or you rightfully so, don't remember what the Gather and Chat videos are, essentially it's me cutting out ephemera through my giant stash of magazines that I've been hoarding in my studio. I have a little bit of a routine where I like to kind of sit down and cut out all of my ephemera at once. And so I'm going to start documenting that in little batches. And then I just kind of talk to you about some sort of creative topic or thing that I'm, working on or working through as an artist at this current moment. Before we get into the topic of today's episode, which is going to be all about too many ideas or too many projects, you'll see that I'm cutting out a bunch of stuff out of a Hollywood Reporter magazine. I always have a huge stash of these because it's a weekly thing. It is an industry magazine. It's something that I get, for James working in entertainment. So I don't think this is a magazine that's just readily available out there. But it's always been a great resource for me for images because it's a really large format magazine and there's always really good close-ups of backgrounds and fabric and textures and interesting sets and things. So it's always been just a really great place for me to gather some things. Another little fun thing that you're going to see in this episode or in this batch of ephemera as well is I have kind of a vintage game box that I had found literally on a curb in a pile of trash, and I saw it and I just honed right into it. So towards the end you'll see me kind of go through that, and maybe I'll talk about that a little bit more once we actually get there. But let's take a moment now to actually just talk about the creative topic for today's episode, and it is the whole thing of having too many ideas and too many projects. And that is because that is currently something I am dealing with at this moment. Now, I really shouldn't complain because I think if you have too many ideas, too many projects, I think ultimately that is a good problem to have. And I need to kind of stop and remind myself of that, of like, okay, it is way worse when you are in a creative drought or in a creative rut, which ironically was the last episode of Gather and Chat was about creative ruts. This one being about too many ideas. It really is a good problem to have. As a mixed media artist and just as someone who works in a lot of different formats, I am a big believer in working in a lot of things at once. So I always have multiple art journals happening, or at this current moment, I'm not really working in an art journal, but we'll save that for another episode. But I always have a lot of different things happening at once. And it's nice because it keeps things fresh, right? There's always something that I can jump from one thing to the next. So whether it's I'm working in a zine one second, I'm in my planner journal the next, then I'm doing sketchbook stuff or working on my tarot card project. I'm able to move from one thing to the next. It's always keeping things fresh. And I always have something to work on depending on what my mood is, right? Because sometimes what kind of mood you're in can definitely influence what it is that you want to work in. Me sitting and working in my sketchbook, I'm definitely in a different headspace or vibe versus if I'm sitting down to, let's say, work on a tarot card, which is kind of more serious art making, requires a bit more attention and thought and kind of focus. Whereas in my sketchbook, it's kind of playtime. Anywho, not to get too much into, modes of art making here. Again, that could be its own topic. But what the point I'm trying to make is that I have a lot of things that I'm working on, and I've actually kind of hit a point where I'm like, is this hindering me? Because now that my son has started school and I'm starting to now create a more normal work schedule for myself, I have the time now, this like day-to-day set work hours where I can clock in and clock out. I'm having trouble kind of figuring out, okay, what is it that I'm going to work on? How is my work day going to look like? And that's been an interesting challenge for me and something that I really have to figure out and kind of work through. And part of me working through what my day-to-day work routine is going to be is trying to compile all of these ideas and projects that I'm juggling at once. And, it's one thing to make a bunch of lists of things in your planner or a digital list or something. And I have that. I have kind of my goals for the year for 2021 that I want to try to accomplish. And then I have just kind of my weekly goals that I'd like to create. I have even just a general list of like, here's my list of creative projects that I'm working on. But I've realized, and what I'm finding is that as many lists as I create or jot down and try to organize my thoughts in that way, it's not really helping me because it's living inside of a planner. It's living inside of a book. It's on a note thing in my phone. That's not helping me. And I think what I've realized and why I wanted this to be the topic to share is because I'm going to create something a little bit different for myself and helping me kind of create that routine for myself during the workday. And I've made the decision that I am taking Post-its with a big old fat Sharpie, and I am just writing very bluntly what each project is on a Post-it. And I'm going to stick it right in front of my face on a whiteboard in my studio so that I see it. So it's like I come in, I sit down, and bam, here are all the big picture projects that I'm working on. Bam, tarot card project, the canvas that I'm working on, my plan journal, my 5-year, whatever it is, but more like bigger project sort of things, like the tarot card project is a really great idea. Even more specific, like online classes that I'm currently working on. I'm literally developing like 2 online classes at the same time. I'm just overflowing with ideas, but it's getting to a point now where I'm overwhelmed because I have so many. So I've made this Post-it decision to just really make it cut and dry, nice crisp Post-its in my face. So I sit down and I see, okay, here is what I'm focusing on. Pick one of these Post-its and work on it for today. Getting it out of a planner, out of a book where it's buried between pages and, again, it's not being utilized. So I'm going to try this Post-it method. I'll keep you guys posted, and I'm sure you'll see it in a vlog because I'm pretty sure I'm vlogging on this same day that I'm recording this voiceover to start to create my Post-its here. But I just wanted to share that with you, just kind of something that I'm working through as an artist at this current moment. But let's take a moment now to talk about this password game that I found in some trash on the side of the road. This was like ephemera jackpot. You'll see I found all the password, like rigid kind of index card kind of things. Then there was this actual like pad of the score sheets in there, and one sheet in the back actually had handwriting on it where someone had been keeping score, which is like mixed media artist jackpot, am I right? And even at the bottom of the box was this really interesting card game, which I had never seen before. Maybe you guys know it. I have no idea. It was called Flinch. Don't know. I didn't even read the instructions on how to play. It did come with some interesting instructions, and you'll see. And it was old. You could tell, like based on the font of the game instructions, and even like on the password cards and whatnot. This was stuff from like the 60s, maybe even 70s. And it was just a great stash of stuff that I found. So I kind of pulled some out for myself that I'm going to, start to incorporate into my own ephemera stash. And then I put some off to the side as well in the little box on the left. And you'll see that over there, which I will save for future mystery bags, bun mystery, whatever, ephemera packs. Should I do that again in the future. But I am starting to kind of stash some things for future mystery bags since you guys liked those so much when I had them in my Etsy shop before. But anywho, this was kind of just the overview of this little gather and chat, all the things that I had gathered, things that I gotten from those Hollywood Reporter magazines, that really fun game, again, that I found on the side of the road. What a jackpot. And yeah, I will work on getting more of these episodes to you guys because I know it's something that you like. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.